Jail time, probation, both normal punishments these days for crimes committed. But what about those days gone by? Well, this afternoon, we're going to talk about the crime and the time. With us, historian Mike Dixon to share with us. Thank you again for joining us.
My pleasure. Thank you for having me.
And we were talking just a little bit before we started here with the camera on, and you were saying that jail time has not always been something used as a punishment.
No, if you study Delmarva's correction system, criminal justice system, I mean, you go back all the way to the early colonial period. We're mostly borrowing our corrective measures, our punishments from the English.
Okay.
And jail wasn't a big part of it. You know, the only reason they locked you up, they wanted to make sure you'd appear in court.
Okay.
So they would lock you up for that. And then if you were convicted, what might happen to you?
What might happen?
All right, so the whipping post. That was one of the most common punishments on Delmarva. And literally, so if you were charged with theft or some lesser type of crime, you get sentenced to the whipping post. And you'd go into Georgetown, or you'd go into Dover, or Easton, or someplace. Right. And the sheriff would take the whip to you and give you whatever number of punishment.
And it was just a few years ago that the one in Georgetown was removed.
Now, yeah. In fact, the relic, the historic relic was, but it was only in 1972 that they removed it from the laws of Delaware.
Really?
Yeah, and you know what they would say, Jimmy? So here's a quote from the Wilmington Police Chief, Chief Black. He says, you know, we can't get rid of the whipping post. We're a tiny state. We don't have a large police force. We'll be overrun with those hoodlums and criminals from Philadelphia. So it's important that we have that.
Oh my goodness.
By the way, he was the president of the National Association of Police Chiefs at the point. So he was like a modern police chief.
So he had a little influence there.
He had a lot of influence, but boy, he knew the value of the whipping post for Delaware.
How about that? Okay, so any other unique punishments?
Yeah, so there were dozens of cases that would get you the life sentence, a death sentence.
Death sentence, okay.
Yeah, so every one of these old jails, whatever county you're in, up and down the Delmarva from Virginia to Wilmington, would have had a gallows.
The jail?
The jail. Sometimes they would build it specific, because they'd go decades without it, and they'd need a new one. But the sheriff was the county executioner. So think of somebody who had been elected sheriff in Sussex County, or somebody who had been elected sheriff in Dorchester County. Once in a while, the sheriff would hand you, the courts would hand you a death warrant, Jimmy. And you, the sheriff, would have to figure this out. How big's the drop? How do I tie the knot? How do I make sure, because these executions always didn't go perfectly.
Right.
And so, yeah, you were the county executioner, and that happened until the 1920s when Maryland moves it to the state penitentiary.
How about that? Okay, so you've got death penalty with gallows. You've got the whipping post. Anything else unique come to mind?
Yeah, because remember, the one thing we're not talking about is locking them up. Say, all right, you criminal, you've got 6 months in the county jail.
Right.
They had the branding iron.
The branding iron?
Yeah, they would literally brand you. Well, they didn't have computers to see if you were a repeat offender, you know.
But so they would know then, wouldn't they?
They would know then. In Maryland, some of the counties had a dunking stool. So they'd strap you into a chair like this, take you over maybe to the bay or wherever, dunk you in the water, hold you there for a couple minutes, pull you up, do that 4 or 5 times. So there's nothing modern about this. You know, it's branding irons, dunking stools, whipping posts, for the worst ones, executions.
And a lot of people would see those as deterrents.
Yeah.
Goodness gracious. Historian Mike Dixon sharing some unique punishments along Delmarva with us this afternoon. Thank you so much
for
coming back to talk.